Following the first major electoral test of Trump 2.0, which led to a blue wave drowning the GOP, President Trump decided to fire off a list of demands to his party. Now, the first, of course, is doing the so-called nuclear option. In an all-caps rant on social media, he writes, "Republicans, terminate the filibuster, get back to passing legislation, and voter reform, President DJT." Now, what does Trump mean by voter reform? Voter suppression, doing more voter ID laws, and getting rid of mail-in ballots. Now, wait, Republicans used mail-in ballots. Trump's used mail-in ballots. Pretty hypocritical, okay? Now, that said, the recent failure of these very same voter restrictions in a ballot initiative in Maine shows that the American people have no appetite for doing these so-called voter reforms. Now, he also said this, quote, "Save our Supreme Court from packing, no two-state edition, and terminate the filibuster." This had happened during a breakfast meeting with Senate Republicans. He told them, quote, "If we do what I'm saying, they'll most likely never attain power, because we will have passed every single thing that you can imagine." Let me just say this. It's afraid. It's afraid. And he should be, okay? Look, Trump had tried to personally intervene in these different races. In New York, for example, he endorsed Andrew Cuomo and warned voters that New York would become a, quote, "economic and social disaster" if Mamdani wins. He also claimed that Mamdani was a, quote, unquote, Jew hater, and declared that any Jewish person who voted for him would be stupid. Wow. He also even threatened to withhold federal funds from the city if Mamdani is elected. I'm pretty sure that would be illegal, but, you know, who's keeping count of the illegal stuff that Trump's doing? I mean, at this point. You know, hey, election interference. If he can scream it all the time, why can't we? Okay. Now, Trump, by the way, also threw his weight, significant weight, behind Jack Ciattarelli in New Jersey, and had led a tele-rally on behalf of Virginia's gubernatorial candidate Monday night, even though he didn't endorse her. Of course not. All right. So, but anyway, none of that even made any difference. Man couldn't turn out the vote. Just couldn't get it up at the at the ballot box. That's really bad. But look, at the end of the day, the lesson here is he wasn't on the ballot, so his fans didn't care. Not only that, of course, but the economy under Trump sucks. Inflation's up, food prices are up, wages are stagnant, hiring's down, layoffs are up. The only people that are doing very, very well are the rich. Specifically, about 10 billionaires who amassed just this year nearly $700 billion in wealth. So yeah, rich people are doing very, very well, while everyone else, not so much. This is while the government is literally shut down. And so, you know, they're shut down. Millions of people they're not getting their food assistance, 42 million people. You also have millions more that are facing a massive possible increase in their health insurance premiums, which are already unaffordable. You have furloughed workers, almost 1 million of those. You know, people who work at the airports. You have people who are being furloughed and people who just are not, they're coming to work, but they're not getting paid for it. Now, Trump, of course, look, if they reopen the government, boom, Epstein files. I mean, Mike Johnson is going to have to see Adelita Grijalva soon, one of these days. And they're saying, oh, yeah, no, after the government reopens. Well, once they reopen the government, here comes the Epstein files. Okay, which is not going to be good. Now, Republicans also don't have a plan to stop health insurance costs from exploding. I mean, it's a little too late to have concepts of a plan. And then, of course, you have many MAGA folks on food assistance. They're in the finding out stage of FAFO, all right? In short, things are not going too well for the Republican Party, and that is scaring the hell out of Donald Trump. And so he's calling for the end of the filibuster. And one of the reasons, by the way, is so that Republicans could pass the SAVE Act. Okay? The SAVE Act was already passed by the Republican-controlled House back in April. And that bill, the SAVE Act, would massively restrict the ability of people to vote. Okay? And without that filibuster, that bill will sail right through. And could end up leading to essentially one-party rule by disenfranchising so many Americans. I mean, especially women, okay? And not only that, but no filibuster means pretty much every other terrible Republican policy is going to sail right through, all right? Now, here's the thing. This shutdown would be over if Trump could get Republicans to negotiate with the Democrats to extend the ACA tax credits and to reverse some of the massive Medicaid cuts that, again, have been devastating rural hospitals all across the country. You've had rural hospitals, places in MAGA country, in states that overwhelmingly voted for Trump and Republicans. These hospitals have been shutting down. I've been talking about this quite a bit on my channel, where you have these rural hospitals that are like, without this Medicaid funding, we are sunk. We have had to shut our doors. Why wouldn't they roll that back? Well, because they wanted to give tax cuts to the rich more than they cared about the existence of rural hospitals. So I'm sorry, but if you're in one of those states that voted for Donald Trump, you did vote for this. And now you are finding out what Republican rule actually is like. I know. And so, look, he could negotiate with Democrats, but he refuses to do so. Okay? Instead, he's going to he's going to try to push them to get rid of the filibuster. All because Trump doesn't want to give Democrats a win. Now, here's the thing. Republican leadership is not quite ready to get rid of the filibuster. In fact, I want to show you Mike Johnson's response here, where he talks about and gives his argument as to why getting rid of the filibuster would be a terrible idea for Republicans.
What would the Democrats do if they had no filibuster impediment, no speed bump at all? They've already told us. They would pack the Supreme Court. You'd go from 9 to 13 or 15 or 17 or however many liberals they can pack on the court. You would have D.C. and Puerto Rico be made into states, which would give 4 additional Democrat senators there in the count and make us a permanent minority. I guess that would be their calculation. You would see massive restriction of the Second Amendment rights. You'd see them federalize elections so they could take over and manipulate things in the red states. I mean, there's a lot of abuses that could come.
Sounds great. When do we start? No. Look, the irony here is, of course, that Trump is actually the one that's been trying to federalize elections, okay, with his executive orders. So to try to take over from the states, because the states are the ones that actually do their own, they control their own elections, okay? And he doesn't like that, okay? So there's the irony there. Not only that, but Trump has also looked at curtailing the Second Amendment for certain groups of people. For example, transgender Americans. Wanted to prevent them from being able to get a gun. Yeah. But anyway, my point is right now is that here you have Trump demanding the nuclear option, and you have Republicans that are not looking forward to that. They're like, which means so far there is no end to this shutdown in sight. Who is going to win? I do not know. What do you think? Leave me a comment. Yeah, let me know what you're thinking. Now, speaking, of course, of Republican infighting, I've got more, okay? The next segment here, I'm going to talk about Representative Nancy Mace squaring off against two of her Republican colleagues, and it is hilarious. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.